Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Ascentis TV. I'm not quite sure what's happened to the heat wave, but the lineup we've got should cheer you up. And first of all, we've got Lee Kosnowski doing Tech Talk. And this is especially for all of you guys that are in the Forex area, buying and selling in foreign currency. This app is fantastic. It should make your life a lot easier and what you do a lot cheaper as well. Enjoy this.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. One of the many problems that we are now seeing as part of the economic uncertainty is the weakening of the sterling and the effect that's having on FX exposure, even on some moderate transactions. So I spoke to James Scobie of Airwallex to see how the fintech industry is helping address this problem. Let's see what he had to say. So, hi James, and welcome to Ascentis TV.
Hey Lee, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, first of all, I think you just want to tell us a little bit about the history of Airwallex. Kind of what was the pain point the founders were suffering from that made them want to kind of create the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So Airwallex is a cross-border fintech, originally started in Australia and now present in all major markets around the world. Before Airwallex, the founders actually had a small cafe that they were running, and really discovered that when they were buying supplies from China, they were paying exorbitantly high transaction fees and conversion fees. And for any small business, it just wasn't a sustainable way of running it. And so the question for Airwallex was simply, how could a global payment and cross-border payments be as easy as a local payment? And hence the origins of Airwallex.
Yeah, I read about that actually. It was really interesting to see how you guys originally set up. Not what I thought really. Yeah. So Airwallex was founded. Do you want to just give us a brief overview of its key areas?
Yeah, absolutely. So since originally looking to solve the problem of sending funds abroad, it's now developed into an end-to-end banking platform with our sole sort of principle of looking to break down barriers and borders for businesses that are transacting internationally. So banking in a single currency is fairly straightforward, but as soon as you add another currency to it, it can become quite complex and quite expensive. And so Airwallex looks to solve this problem by offering one central platform to create and manage multiple bank accounts or currency accounts to use for businesses as their normal domestic business accounts. Our real sweet spot and where we like to stand apart is we've built a proprietary FX tool. So being able to convert currencies from one to another within your wallet, and then also sending funds internationally. And so that is something that really remains core to our business. But in addition, clients are also able to make both local and then also international payments as well. Where possible, we'll always try and use the local payment methods, which is far more cost effective than relying on the traditional SWIFT network for sending money internationally. And also it's often a lot faster as well. Finally, you should also mention that we have a unique card offering as well. So clients in partnership with Visa are able to create both virtual and also employee cards, so physical cards, which more recently includes an expense management platform as well. So in summary, Airwallex is all about breaking down or making it easier for businesses to transact internationally. So that's our business account, but also all things payments, we also have a payment gateway as well. So along the whole multi-currency theme, it is a payment gateway that syncs up to your website, or especially e-commerce, to be able to receive funds in multiple currencies when clients are paying using credit cards.
Well, yeah, lots to go on there. And you kind of reflected very quickly on an integration there. Do you want to just give us a little more insight into some of the other platforms that you integrate with?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the accounting front, everything that we do in Airwallex is synced up with Xero, so via a direct bank feed, and then also more recently the expense management platform. So for all the Xero clients that you have, that'll be good news. We've also recently integrated with NetSuite, which is a newer relationship, and there's lots of the other accounting platforms in the pipeline. So it just makes that reconciliation piece a lot easier at the end of the month. And then on the payment gateway side, this connects with all the major shopping platforms. So Magento, WooCommerce, more recently Shopify as well. And so just being able to create that link with the rest of the, I suppose, an e-commerce's business and tools that they're using.
Yeah, just really important to make that as easy as possible for all our customers, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess in terms of specific industries or verticals, have you kind of identified any that seem to benefit the most from you guys?
Yeah, I think I suppose from the outset, any business that is using more than one currency, certainly Airwallex can add a lot of value to. So there's various forms of that. It might be a business that has international supplier payments. It could be clients receiving funds abroad. So I mentioned e-commerce as a key vertical for us. But then also consulting business or even accounting firms that are in more than one country and more than one currency. We certainly add value to those types of businesses. E-commerce in the last couple of years has really emerged as a core vertical for us, as well as technology. So, clients or businesses in both of those industries, they have a real need to scale up really quickly, and so they need an international banking solutions. So we've got lots of examples of e-commerce businesses that we've supported in the UK, but then also global businesses looking to set up in the UK. So it really works for both incoming and outgoing businesses.
Yeah, and then the market just moves so fast. You need someone at the other end that's very dynamic and reactive and able to help them as soon as an opportunity arrives there, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the e-commerce example, if you're a merchant selling shoes and socks in the UK, there's no reason that you can't quickly scale up to Europe. Often getting a bank account is probably the first sort of action item to do that. Although it can be quite hard. So empowering these sort of e-commerce merchants to scale up really quickly and Airwallex to support their growth is something that we really like to do.
Excellent. And you guys are partnering up with accounting firms like us at Ascentis. Is there any benefits to the end user as of them coming through partners like us?
Yeah, absolutely. So in partnership with yourselves, first of all, there's a free 10K FX offer. So when clients come on board, there's that nice sort of introductory solution for them to use. But then also any client of yours is always gets priority onboarding, and then they also get an account manager as well. So really important for clients to have a point of contact for any questions and queries that come up. But from our point of view, that's really important because we're always releasing new products, and so for us to keep our clients updated. So yeah, definitely they've always got a point of contact, and hopefully it's a seamless experience to onboard.
And just a little level up there on having your standard retail bank account. You don't get any of those services as part of that, really, do they?
Yeah, no, I think where we can support your clients as priority, then that's certainly what we're looking to do, and providing a really sort of cost-effective solution for them at the same time.
Perfect. So I think we've always found, or from our experience, we've found your platform really user-friendly, and I guess it would really help our viewers if you could just take us through a brief demonstration on how to use and navigate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me open it up here. Perfect. So Lee, can run you through a quick demo of the account and what your clients will have access to. As you can see here, this is the main dashboard. So clients are able to log in and have a representative will be able to see all of the currency accounts that you can see here. This is a total estimated value of your accounts combined. And then to just run through our sort of core products in a bit more detail. So think about our account in terms of three key areas. The first of which is to be able to receive funds. So the primary way is through the bank accounts that we set up. So to do so, clients come in, create global account. If it's a USD account thereafter, next, give it a nickname, create global account. These will then be the individual account numbers and account details for each client that they've got access to. The first use of these is being able to receive local payments, but then also being able to sync it up with the e-commerce platforms. So being able to receive funds in multiple different currencies around the world, and then also importantly, being able to giving you access to the local payment methods. So this goes for not only USD, but then up to 11 other currencies, and just making that global banking a lot easier to manage. The other aspect is the conversions. So when you're receiving funds in USD, being able to convert that back to the UK or wherever it may be, And likewise, when you're looking to expand into the US, you can fund the account for the normal expenses that you would expect to be paying. So here you can see here AUD into GBP. The only way that we charge clients is through this conversion activity. So the markup that we charge on major currencies is 0.5 above interbank rates. So the best rates that SMEs can get access to. If we go next, confirm conversion, and then that will reflect in your currency balance straight away. So that's the conversions. The third aspect, I suppose, is sending money out of the account. So using transfers both locally and internationally. And for both local and international payments, they are free. So where possible, we'll always use the local payment methods, which will be a lot faster. So generally, if we have a look at a payment to Australia, 0 to 1 days, as you can see here, and then it remains a free transfer. So keeping in mind, the only way that we charge clients is through the conversion activity. If we're a UK business sending funds to AUD, so saying sending funds to Australia, there'll be the need for a conversion. It will remain free, as I mentioned. However, if you've already got AUD in your account, so if we change this to AUD, single currency to single currency, there's no need for a conversion activity, and it will remain a free transfer. So in a way, we're actually eliminating a fair bit of the FX activity and being able to, I suppose, just filling out the more normal details that are required for a payment. But yeah, in a way, really eliminating some of the FX activity. If you're selling in Australia, receiving AUD, then the funds going out of your AUD balance will keep those transfers free. I mentioned the cards, so being able to create both company cards in virtual format and then also employee cards. The employee cards for UK clients are physical cards, and both formats are multi-currency. So if you're spending in USD, it'll pull from your USD balance, and then if you're spending in local sterling or GBP, it will pull from the GBP balance. I mentioned the payment gateway that we've got access to as well. So being able to receive funds in multiple currencies around the world, and then being able to sync it up to the e-commerce platforms as well. And then we've also got other features that you'd find in a normal business account in terms of connections, the user management, so being able to have different sort of hierarchies, and lots of other sort of features that I can walk you through in more detail. So yeah, Lee, any questions in summary? I know it's a pretty quick tour, but yeah, definitely looking to support any clients that have multiple currencies coming in or indeed going out of the business.
No, that's great. Actually, it's really useful to see, and especially those auxiliary functions like the cards. They can be really useful in terms of people that are travelling across multiple locations, and you're a real bugbear in terms of FX because you're just picking up all sorts of different exchange rates on your credit card, which are never the best rates anyway, are they? So,
yeah, exactly. I think with us, not every client will use every aspect. So some clients will just use us for a USD bank account. Some clients, as you just said, where they've got traveling staff or directors, they can just use us for the cards. Obviously, for us, we want to be able to sell our full suite of products, but as an introduction, it certainly can solve problems that the businesses might be facing already.
Thanks, James. And you can just see how super quick it is to actually create a bank account. That's not really the usual experience that we've seen in the past with the main banking apps. That wraps up the episode on Tech Talk this time. It's just time for me to say thank you very much, James. And if anyone's got any queries on this, feel free to contact either myself or James.
Perfect. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, very happy to have any sort of questions and happy to walk through a demo and in a more sort of customized environment and hear how we can support you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Lee. There are quite a few of these apps that deal with foreign exchange, and each one of them has got individual features, but very few have all of those features in one app like Airwallex does. So if you're in that field yourself, get in touch with Lee in the Virtual Finance Office department and he will give you a more detailed introduction to that app. So next up we've got Mark doing his tax tip, and this month he's going to take you through the last remaining tax-free rewards that you can give to your team. at least until Rishi Sunak in his Gucci loafers gets his hands on them. So get in there quick.
Hi, welcome to this month's Ascentis Tax Tips. This month we're going to look at the tax implications of providing additional benefits alongside the remuneration package offered to staff. Often in terms of trying to retain or attract new talent, employers are looking at more and more benefits to add on to the package to make it as attractive as possible. So the first thing we're going to look at, mobile phones. The provision of a mobile phone, if an employer takes a contract out and provides an employee with a mobile phone, is not a taxable benefit. So if that employee has the company mobile phone and they use it for business, but also use it for private calls, there's no restriction or no requirement to record the level of private use compared to business use. They're allowed to use it in whatever proportion they see fit or you see fit as an employer. And as long as the employer has the contract in their name and is paying for it in full, then no taxable benefit arises. Issues can arise where the employee has the mobile phone contract and asks the employer to reimburse them for the cost of it. In that case, where there's private calls, a taxable benefit can arise on the reimbursement of the private calls. And so what should happen in those scenarios is that the employee should get an itemized bill, highlight the business calls that they've made, and then ask the employer to reimburse them just for the business calls. Bit of an administrative nightmare. And so really, from both a simplicity point of view and a tax efficiency point of view, the best thing is for the employer to take the mobile phone contract and give it to the employee. Second benefit that's available to offer is the Cycle to Work scheme. Now, we cover that in great detail on episode 8 of Ascentis TV back in August last year. So if you want any more details on that, the best thing to do is go to our YouTube channel and look up episode 8. Another option that we're being asked about quite a lot recently, actually, is free or subsidized meals within the workplace. Now, that could take the form of a working lunch or perhaps just offering free food, say on a Friday, at breakfast time. To cover the working lunch first, to be honest, to cover all food, really the main thrust of tax positioning on this is that all employees must have the opportunity to obtain the benefit of the food. So if you are offering a working lunch, then as long as all the staff within the meeting are able to take the opportunity of free food with the meeting, and as long as you don't segregate certain meetings that can have free food and certain ones that can't because of who attends, i.e. all your directors' meetings have free food and all your staff meetings don't, then you're okay from a tax point of view. It's not a taxable benefit to provide food in those scenarios. Similarly to offering, breakfast food or similar perhaps on a Friday, as long as you offer food to an entire staff base and nobody's excluded, then again, it should be an exempt benefit and no taxable benefit arises. On a wider scope of staff entertainment and providing entertainment to your staff, then we've talked before about the fact that for an event, perhaps a summer barbecue or a Christmas function, then you can spend £150 per head, including VAT, on a function and no taxable benefit arises. Now, if you have more than one function, let's say you have a summer barbecue and a Christmas party, then the £150 per head is for the entire tax year. So both functions must fall within that limit of £150 per head. As soon as you go over £150, the whole event becomes a taxable event, effectively, from an income tax point of view. And so it's not sort of an allowance; it's an exempt limit. So if you've got two parties, one that costs say £100 per head, and the other that costs £60 per head, then your £100 one would be exempt, but your £60 one would potentially be a taxable benefit on the staff. Now, the point of that is that potentially you're going to have to add the cost of your function to a P11D and get all your staff to pay tax and national insurance on the provision of that benefit, which is probably something that they're not going to be keen to hear. So coming on to potential ways to mitigate that circumstance. First of all, another way of incentivizing staff is through non-cash vouchers. So staff can receive non-cash vouchers up to the value of £50 per voucher. As long as they're not in return for services, then they're not a taxable benefit. So the real thrust of this is to offer the opportunity for employers to give staff a present, perhaps on a special occasion, perhaps a birthday, or a wedding anniversary or something of that nature, up to the value of £50, often, a bunch of flowers or something like that. The non-cash voucher also extends to any non-cash benefit. So if you go out for, say, Friday drinks where the staff are like, you pay for maybe 1 or 2 drinks, as long as the cost of those drinks doesn't exceed £50 a head, then again, you're going to fall into this regime where no taxable benefit arises. Coming back to our situation where we were talking about before, where perhaps you have a lavish Christmas party or a lavish event where you well exceed the £150 a head limit, and you don't want your staff to pay tax on this, but you still want to go ahead with the event, then you can arrange to set up what's called a Psa Settlement Agreement with Hmrc. The benefit of this is that it avoids the need for the employees to pay the tax on the benefit that you're providing. The downside, if you're an employer, is that you pay the tax. So what happens is a calculation is done to work out the marginal rate of tax that would have been payable by each member of staff. The tax and national insurance is calculated on the benefit provided, and as an employer, you pick that up and pay it over to Hmrc. You have to agree what is going to be included in a Psa settlement agreement when you approach Hmrc to do this. So, for example, staff functions can be included, or expensive gifts. If, for example, you want to spend more than £50 a head on gifts at Christmas, then you could include gifts of that nature in the agreement. So this month's quick tax tip relates to auto-enrolment pension schemes. Now, back when automatic enrolment was introduced, many employers went out and set up a pension scheme for the first time. Some took advice, some didn't. And most automatic enrolment pension schemes are currently operating in a way that isn't particularly tax efficient. We saw recently that the government raised not only employee national insurance by 1.25%, but also employer national insurance by 1.25%, effectively increasing the tax cost of employing people. If you've got an automatic enrolment pension scheme, you can have that set to operate on a salary sacrifice basis, which means that the pension contributions are deducted from an employee's pay before the calculation of tax and national insurance. If you do that, then obviously both an employee and an employer are going to save tax and national insurance on the pension contributions being made into the auto-enrolment pension scheme.
Okay, great stuff, Mark. That last quick tip, just how to get the sequence of how you calculate your payroll in the right order and save tax and national insurance on auto-enrolment is a really cute idea. Okay, so it's our very own man with a face for radio to round off this week's show with AdminMin. Take it away, Lee.
Hi everyone, on this episode of AdminMin, the one that stands out probably the most from those usual deadlines at the bottom is that 31st of July payment due for self-assessment tax return. Now remember, that is a payment on account and it is for the April 22 tax year. So if you expect your income for April 22 to be less than it was in April 21, you should look to get your actual figures submitted to Hmrc and avoid paying some unnecessary tax there. Now, this is also a final warning really for the VAT returns. We are in a making tax digital compliant period now. That was any period that started from the 1st of April. So you need to make sure you file this return with some making tax digital software. Now, in the last episode, we took us through the LEP Business Growth Grant, and I've just put a couple of other grants there for your attention, really. We've got another one from the LEP, that's a Strategic Growth Programme grant, and that provides funding with a coach or an advisor to help you with your strategic plan. We've also got another one from the Bradford Council that kind of mops up all the other grants that is previously given. Now, these do have deadlines on them, but they also have the caveat that they will just end when the funding runs out. So it's always best to get an application in there. And finally, we have had some news recently that we are going to get a new recovery loan scheme. That's the RLS version 3. So hopefully that will come into play from the 1st of August, and we'll have more information in the next episode. I'll see you then.
Well done, Lee. Brilliant as always. Okay, guys, you're all up to date. If you're not a client of Ascentis and you're with a compliance firm, but you would like to know what an advisory firm does and how we can add massive amounts of value to your business, then please get in touch on the email below and we'd love to speak to you. Until next time, bye-bye.